are listening to Bearcat Insider with everybody's favorite assistant coach Travis Marsh, and I'm Chance Kirby. Now to the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the CS Designs postgame show, Callisburg edition. I'm Coach Marsh. I'm here with Pilot Point's favorite son, real estate broker extraordinaire, capturer of all things photographically Bearcat, Chance Kirby.
Hey everybody.
And we're going to talk a little bit of Callisburg. I'm assuming that the people that are listening to the show know that we notched a 28-3 season opening win over Callisburg in the Berg, and got Kyle Peacock's first win as a head coach, so he is historically the number one win percentage in Bearcat history.
And he officially tied the last first-year head coach that we had that I could find, which is Pospisil.
Yeah.
He went 1-9, so hopefully next week we can put that one behind us.
No pressure. But, first things first, let's, we like to talk about the broadcast because it's kind of a big deal.
Before we even get to that, can I hit them with another broadcast? Just a fun note that those of you out there will enjoy.
Absolutely.
Our professionalism. We ran a scrimmage yesterday. We did this very podcast yesterday and didn't hit record.
No, we hit record. The SD card was just full.
Okay, so we did a minute and a half yesterday.
We did a minute.
On tape. We did a 40-minute podcast.
We did.
So
we did. We talked a lot.
Hopefully this one sounds like we've had practice.
It is currently recording as well.
It is recording.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I'm sorry. Go right into the webcast.
First and foremost, thank you to Callisburg and Eddie Gill for their giving us space, and it was decent space. It wasn't terrible. And we'll talk about, like we always do, addressing the concerns about the broadcast. But a big thank you to Eddie Gill and Callisburg ISD for the accommodations.
Yeah.
It was a workable space and plenty of outlets and plenty of room and whatnot. But what was not in their control was the geographical location of Callisburg, Texas.
No, I don't know who the founding fathers were of Callisburg, but when they did that, probably in the 1800s, cell service and internet connection was not the priority. It was probably food and water, but
well, but I thought that all things considered,
and how that works, so you don't think we're a bunch of amateurs. We have 3 different cell services: T-Mobile, Verizon. Shout out to all you guys. Advertising's available, and AT&T.
Yep.
And then we also have Starlink.
Yep.
In Callisburg, they hit the superfecta of literally none of those really provided a good upload connection.
Yeah.
We chose to go with Starlink, and then minus, which it crashed pregame, which is good.
It's a good time to crash.
It stayed pretty consistent. I know it buffered a little bit, but come on, people.
Yeah, but 1,400 views of the YouTube.
Let's check the 1,440 as we speak.
Yeah, that's not bad.
9 more today.
Okay. But that was a great start to the season for Bearcats.com.
It was.
So looking forward to a home broadcast with the new internet that Mr. Southard and the Pilot Point ISD have hooked us up with. I think it'll be awesome.
PPISD.
Now, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk just about the game in general, which is actually what everybody wants to hear about.
Are you looking to build that dream home or barn-dough? CS Designs offers a complete range of design services. CS Designs products range from general drawing services to commercial and residential blueprints, as well as 3D renderings and virtual reality walkthroughs. Let Cole Stewart and the CS Design team design you a beautiful progressive home or building that translates your ideas into an outstanding reality. Visit their website at csdesignstx.com or give them a call at 940-365-4048.
All right, thank you again to CS Designs. 28-13, I thought was a good way to start the season. So, what's your complaint?
Me saying, no. It was a tale of two halves. I think if you want to be critical, and from the guy sitting up in the stands, we looked to be a different team in the second half. I know historically in this young season. It's been a physical conditioning issue. I want to think that Callisburg also had something to do with that in the second half, but it's really the only thing that I noticed. I would like to see more rushing yards.
Okay.
But other than that, how do you respond to those, Coach? There's the two things from the common man, as I always like to say, his approach. That's the two things I noticed.
I understand where you're coming from with it being 21-0 at halftime and then ending the game 28-13. The production falls down, and there's multiple reasons that can go into that. One, Eddie Gill's a good coach. He put Whitesboro, Texas on the map, football-wise. He's not young. He's not dumb. He's a seasoned coach that has bona fide schemes that work.
He's also as close to the Tom Landry style of sideline dress as you can find.
He
these
just really
days.
needed a houndstooth hat, and I think
know.
it would have been a good.
I like his style.
Yeah, but no, he's a fantastic coach, and so they made halftime adjustments, and that's apparent. The other thing is they received the ball in the third quarter kickoff. They went down, they marched down and scored to make it 21-7. However, that drive took 7.5 minutes.
It was a thing of beauty.
It's a thing of beauty when you're not down 21-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of working against yourself
To do that, you have to get the first score and be in control of the scoreboard.
If we would have received the ball 21-0 and then gone on a 7.5 minute drive, now that's a thing of beauty because you're playing keep away. But when you're behind, they kind of put themselves behind the 8 ball a little bit. And so I think when you look at production, that point production, that's the factor. Is they ate up almost half of the second half in one drive, and then they made adjustments on defense that didn't stifle us, but just kind of gave us a little bit of just some fits. It was adjustments, and we'll get better.
Speaking of adjustments, to quote Coach Gill, our new defense confused them, and they hadn't seen it. It was new. And in that second half, they made an adjustment from my uneducated view, basically started running slants. Is what I would call them. So is that something now, I guess, this week, where like, hey, this is how they're going to react to our defense? Is that something where...
Well, every week.
How do you respond to that?
Every week you look at the previous game and you see what you could have done better. That's our job as coaches.
It really wasn't working except for the one time crew jumped it and almost had the interception. But when you
he was
gamble like that,
he was just early.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is they had 118 yards passing on 12 completions. So that's almost 10 yards per completion.
I think half of it was when that one catch.
42 of them came from that one catch. And so then you start looking at it and you start doing the math and you go 118 minus 42. So now you have 11 completions for 76 yards. That is not an ideal look in a passing game.
Yeah.
That's not what you want from it. Especially whenever they were relatively ineffective running the ball. I think they had 36 carries for 105 yards, 2.9 per carry. That's not an effective running game. If it was 7 yards a carry to go with 7 yards per pass play, now we have something to work with. But I think Coach Burris and his game plan defensively did a good job of kind of stifling their offense just in general. They outsnapped us 43-55 on offense. Which, when you have a 57-yard touchdown to start the game, that's going to take a few plays off, and then a short field as well. But, I think to go back to your original point, the biggest problem was we weren't consistent in the running game, and then the big runs that we did rip off for 10, 15, 20 yards, there was a penalty associated with it, and so it kind of, it takes out that production.
It looked like it flipped to me, again, back to adjustments. It looked like Callisburg went into the game saying, we're going to shut down the run, and make them pass. And then the second half, it looked like they went to, we're going to focus on the passing. Am I oversimplifying it?
Yeah, you are. Their scheme didn't really change so much as there's just your play calling has to evolve with the game, and they did a better job of staying over the top. We missed Crew Chandler on 2 big pass plays that he catches those. It's a different score. It's a different ball game.
Game breaker.
And we'll get better. The offensive line will get better. They were young. There's a few kids that are making their first varsity start, and they'll keep getting better. And I can say that with certainty because I know the guy who's going to be down there working with them every day with Coach Keith Peacock and Coach Perez, and they'll get after it. They will get better. They will improve. And so it's just nice to see that. It's like I said, the starting point. And whenever your starting point is with a win, it's a whole lot better than if we had lost 28-13.
Do you find that wins are easier teaching and coaching moments than losses? I've heard that they are. So I want to say that. I've heard coaches say you can come down harder on kids actually after a win than a loss.
Yes and no. It depends on the win. If we'd have beat them 63-0, it's very hard to coach them because their bad habits have shown to be successful and wildly successful. Same thing if you lose 63-0, it's tough to coach them at that point because you feel like you're just beating them down. A 28-13 win, there's enough good things that happen that you won the game. There's enough bad things that happened that kept it close, so it's easy to coach.
Makes sense. Well, let's go over these scoring plays.
Well, number one, your contribution to the world scored 7 quick points. Or 6, actually, because he didn't kick the extra point.
Yeah, I missed it for buffering, trying to bring the cast to the masses. But that's happened to me twice. So if I have to get us back online,
Aston's probably scoring.
To get Aston to score, I'm willing to make that sacrifice for the greater good.
But it was a 57-yard pass from Wyatt to Aston. Aston broke over the middle of the field. Honestly, without the video right here in front of me, there was some kind of something that happened in the middle of the field to where he was in contact with someone, broke the tackle, and ran away from him. Pretty ho-hum play, really. That's as much as a 57-yard pass play can be.
Yeah.
And then Elias kicked the extra point. We go up 7-0. Also, in the first quarter, we drive down there.
Next one would have been a Wyatt Smith 1-yard run.
It was his quarterback sneak, which it's nice with a quarterback sneak on the 1-yard line because everybody kind of knows that's coming. And there's a big mass of humanity, and the offensive line did a really good job of moving them, and Wyatt scored easily. They got good push and got a good leverage on the D line and did well.
Yeah, and then that wrapped up the first quarter at 14-0.
Yeah, on top of the world.
It really did feel good because going into that game, we were picked by the pundits to get beat by 14 points.
Yeah. If you look at it big picture and you pull away and you take off the Bearcat blinders, I get it. I get why people might have doubted us. We lost 2 exceptionally good players, and then we lost a whole bunch of just key players, role players. Ish and Aiden get all the highlights, so to speak. But we lost a ton of multi-game, multi-year starters on the offensive line with Dak Morgan and Aaron Stripmatter. We lost our leading tackler, Curly Brockman. We lost depth in the secondary. And so I get why people say, and then you add a coaching change to it. I get why people doubted us going into it, but I'm glad that our kids responded the way that they did. Yeah. Of blocking out the noise and really getting after it. I thought they played really hard and they played really well.
It's one of my favorite quotes from the Hometown Roofing pregame show with John, Ryan, and Nordy, which you guys should listen to. But if you didn't, Nordy said we were favored to lose by 14 points. That's a tongue twister. Favored to lose.
I don't really know what to make of that.
Every sports gambler in the world cringed, I think, when he said that, or those that listen. Favored to lose by 14.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit of Yogi Berra. What is it? Half the game is 90% mental.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's about there. Second quarter was just a one-score quarter. Gage Anderson 2-yard run.
Untouched.
Yeah, and again, that's a tribute to the blocking. Get down near the goal line, and everybody kind of knows that you're probably going to run the ball.
Yeah.
And for him to just kind of walk in untouched was a good thing. It's good for the O-line. Elias apparently missed the extra point. I thought it clanked in, but apparently it clanked out.
I was standing under it, and I sure thought it hit the inside of the upright. But if you kick them down the center, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I'd blame the holder.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, he can't focus long enough. But needless to say, we go into half. We're up 21-0, thanks to the 2-point conversion that we converted on the previous kick. So 21-0 going into halftime. I know you're really disappointed there was no Coach Gray halftime speech.
Well, I generally don't ask that if we're up 21-0 at half. It's hard to believe that there would be. Even Coach Gray, if we had him here today, I don't think he ever gave a heated, impassioned, we're up 21-0 speech. Although some of his teams, he might have been upset that we were only up 21-0.
I was about to say, I've been on the receiving end of some of those where we were lucky to be up 21-0 because of how bad we were playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it from that perspective.
That's the spin job.
Yeah.
But
what were you guys thinking though? Man, if people could see all the cogs turning and smoke coming out of your headphones right now.
Well, it's one of those things where, my initial thing is that I was surprised, but not really surprised. I wasn't surprised by how hard our kids were playing, and no harm intended towards Callisburg. I was surprised that we had shut them out.
Callisburg is picked to be a contender. They went 9-2 last year.
Yeah,
they were 14-point favorites.
I wasn't surprised by the Bearcats' achievement. I was surprised with disappointment in the Wildcats because they have Colton Simpson and Colton Montgomery, two seniors that are the quarterback and the running back. The Simpson kid was 6 foot, 195, 200 pounds, and is a regional finalist in the 100-meter dash. And I just knew that he would give us some kind of problems because he's a big physical kid that can run. And so the fact that we basically shut him completely down was surprising to me. I thought that an athlete like that, they're going to get theirs. They're going to break one. They're going to have some kind of success because that's their talent level.
We showed up. I was surprised at how physical we were in that first half.
The kids flew around. And from a coaching perspective, people probably don't even know the mistakes that we made because the kids covered up for their mistakes by flying to the football. So if somebody didn't do their job, it was mostly missed because other people filled in and did a great job of hustling to the football.
Maybe that's why there wasn't a Coach Gray halftime speech, because Kyle was so happy, because I've heard him say in the podcast that if you're going to be wrong, at least go full speed.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They were all over that. Third quarter, we've already kind of mentioned it. We kick off to them, and I thought Elias had a good day kicking the ball off the tee. I thought he did a really good job. But they get the kickoff. They march it down the field, 7.5 minutes, and they score. I was worried that was going to be deflating for our kids, that, they just kept making big conversions. I think we can let a 3rd and 12 go. They
quarterback sneak, maybe.
They converted a 4th down on us on a missed sack, and so it was disappointing in that regard that they just kind of marched their way down and didn't. We put up resistance. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a 7.5 minute drive. But we couldn't get off the field. And at times, whenever we were given the opportunity to make a play and get off the field, we didn't. And so I was worried that I was going to kind of deflate them, but I was pretty impressed with their ability to bounce back and keep fighting from that point. And so we go into the fourth quarter, 21-7.
6.
6, because they missed it there. No, we blocked the extra point.
Block party.
Also in the third quarter, we returned a kickoff that was called back for holding.
Who blocked the kick?
Juan Dominguez.
Way to go, Juan.
Yeah, he's the one. And so...
Mr. Wonderful.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Okay. But after the blocked kick, which is a huge play, Crew Chandler takes the kickoff return back, and apparently there was holding somewhere, and they blamed Aston. And if you watch the film, Aston didn't touch a soul, which is amazing in itself that we can go a whole 86-yard football play, and number 8 can't find anyone on the football field to touch.
To block,
just a touch.
Called for holding.
Just a touch. I mean, you don't even have to block him, but he didn't touch anybody. And then he gets called for holding, which it's a complicated relationship with officials.
Oh, I know.
And but for the most part, they were a pretty good crew. They didn't do bad.
Well, I know one play for everything that they took away from us, they gave us right there on the sideline. Speaking of number 8.
Yeah, it was a third down catch on an out route that
he caught on the track.
Yeah, he did not even come close to catching a foot in bounds.
No.
And they gave it to him. That was very sweet of them.
Yeah.
So the third quarter, I feel like if we return that kick, it's over.
Yeah, based on the drive they just had to. If that's how they determine they're going to have to beat our defense, is running 7-minute drives very slowly, that the clock's against them at that point.
Yeah.
You can even go back to, not so far in Bearcat history, but when we beat Wall, that's the same thing Wall got in trouble with. When we got ahead of Wall,
they were not built for the comeback.
Their offense is not conducive to getting that done.
Yeah. Then it's 20-6, fourth quarter. We talked already about this play as well. The Crew Chandler trying to jump a slant. And I thought he had a really good jump on it. He was just a little early, and the ball squeezed by him. And kid caught it and scored. And so we go in. Start of the fourth quarter. It turns to 20-13 quick. And then we have the emergence of Colin Lynch, who had not been on the stat sheet offensively yet.
Yeah, and he kind of took Callisburg's approach and made it his own.
Yeah. And so on that last drive, he was the only person in the backfield that got a carry, and he ended with...
Everyone knew he was going to get the ball.
6 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown to seal the deal. And so, that puts us up 28-13, which ended up being the final. And, I don't know if this is a cognitive decision that we've made that Colin Lynch is the closer.
Worked out.
But that's what he ended up being. And so, it'll be interesting to see the balance of the backfield going forward, just because I don't think anybody was as successful as they wanted to be in the running game. And I know that Coach Roberson's defense up there at Callisburg, they're predicated on stopping the run, and they did.
Well, Gage had a couple, I think 2 pretty good runs that were called back with penalties. That would have helped the rushing.
Yeah, no, I think so. But all in all, just very happy with the effort level of the kids, and it was nice to get Coach Peacock's first win and get it. I don't want to say over with, but get it out of the way, if that makes sense.
If you script it, you want your first win in your first game.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And never lose, ever. Have an undefeated career. It's where we're trending right now.
Wonder, and you've got me off on a totally new tangent. I wonder what the longest undefeated streak is. And I already got an idea in my head of who might hold the record, if such record. I'm going with Butch Ford.
Undefeated start to a career?
Correct. And I think Butch Ford is going to have to be in the top 3 if he's not number 1.
That's interesting.
I don't even know how many games he won.
Because, Alito had that weird AD head coach change right in the middle of their dynasty.
Okay.
Where it went from Steve Wood to Tim Buchanan, I think, and then back to Steve Wood. So in there, they're winning state championships and just changing head coaches and ADs. And
your turn.
So it'd be interesting.
Anyway, sorry to sidetrack us.
Let's take a quick break. Let's come back and talk stats.
Okay. Are you looking to build that dream home or barndo? CS Designs offers a complete range of design services. CS Designs products range from general drawing services to commercial and residential blueprints, as well as 3D renderings and virtual reality walkthroughs. Let Cole Stewart and the CS Design team design you a beautiful progressive home or building that translates your ideas into an outstanding reality. Visit their website at csdesignstx.com or give them a call at 940-365-4048. We're back. Thank you, CS Designs. Not going to have a stat talk this week because I forgot the stats. So,
here's the stats that matter.
Tell me the stats that matter, Coach.
Bearcats won 28-13.
Boom. I like that.
But you can also check social media, and the stat leader posts are there as well.
So I apologize, and I will make that up to you guys next week, and I'll even bring more in-depth stats than we normally have.
Oh, man.
I don't know what those will be, but
I can't wait.
I'll bring them. So I was thinking, you want to go over the district scoreboard real quick?
Let's
see what the other side is doing? Peaster Greyhounds got beat by the Toller Rattlers, 29-15.
At first I was shocked because I'm not very familiar with the Rattlers. But on a deeper dive, the Rattlers, I believe, are ranked.
I believe they are. I was personally shocked because I form all of my District 4 3A opinions from Professor Diggs and the District 4 3A show found on our YouTube channel. And Peaster getting beat was not expected. Moving on. Ponder Lions 64, Valley View Eagles 14. That's impressive. Heard it was 57-0 at half.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. Okay, Valley View's not very good. Obviously, the scoreboard indicates that they have defensive troubles. Ponder runs a breakneck pace on offense.
They didn't even punt when we played them.
So those two things coupled together lend themselves to lots of points happening in a hurry.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah.
Paradise Panthers 36, Lindsay Knights 7.
I'm not too shocked about that.
No, and I don't know enough about the Lindsay Knights, but I think Paradise is someone we want to keep an eye on.
I know their classification down.
Okay. That Paradise pilot point is what, back to the District 4 3A report, they say that's big game.
Well,
I know Coach is going to tell us they're all big games, but
according to Dave Campbell's, that will be the game that decides 4th and 5th.
Parker County. Brock Eagles 7, Texarkana Pleasant Grove Hawks 28. That's a quality opponent that Brock played. For those of you out there thinking, wow, Brock got beat.
No, they did get beat. Pleasant Grove's a great program. It's a division up from us, and that's a solid program.
The most exciting stat is Pleasant Grove did not throw a pass.
That's what my Pleasant Grove insider let me know.
That just blows my mind.
And that has to be one of the lowest point outputs in Brock history.
If they had a media guide, I would go to it and look that up.
Yeah. Maybe they should look into the media guide.
Yeah.
More people should.
Yeah. It does help. Moving on. Blue Ridge Tigers 26, Boyd Yellow Jackets 45.
That's a good win for the Jackets.
Yeah. I mean, they had a rough year last year. They found a quarterback, though, so maybe he's figuring it out.
Yeah, I know they have a really good freshman class that I've had the pleasure of seeing the past few years as they play against Michael, and I'm not too shocked by it.
And then finally, the Bearcats of the North beat the Crum Bobcats 41-16.
That's a solid win. We've seen Crum, and I thought Crum was a pretty good football team.
I did too.
Not state championship good. I wouldn't accuse them of that, but I feel like they're a playoff team. They look good, so it's a solid win for Fagan and company up there.
The Burrow's good, or we could say that they're tough.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe Burrow tough.
Be a good hashtag.
I think they should use it.
Yeah.
And with that, they're good at everything. And that goes to Coach Fagan, and he has a Lone Star Cup mindset. And so it's starting to kind of come to fruition a little bit.
Yeah.
Big game this week. because every game's a big game.
Yeah.
And in the quest to go 2-0, we will see the Plainview Indians at home, 7:30 p.m. Friday night. The JV will not play against Plainview because it's a little bit different. Oklahoma and the JV plays early in the week, and so JV will be playing the Salina Bobcats at 5 p.m. in Salina on Thursday.
Ooh.
We're doing an old rivalry.
Yeah.
Kick the tires.
One of our oldest.
And Plainview, they're going to be a good football team. They have been the past 2 years that we've played them. They have wide receiver linebacker Pearson Morgan, who is a highly recruited football and baseball player. I do believe he is committed to OU currently.
Boomer.
I don't blame him.
Would you say that we have to score 30 points to win?
Man, that's a good question. No.
Okay. Because we scored 30 points both times we've played them. Exactly.
Well, if we score 30 and win, that'd be really, really good.
It would be a weird anomaly, too.
I think that would be the only opponent that we have only scored 30 points on.
So far, it is.
Yeah. No pressure, Keith.
Yeah. It's a hard number to hit.
It really is. There's no good way to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go 4 touchdowns, 4 extra points, and a safety.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
It's always fun to mix in the safety.
Yeah. But, so Plainview, that's their guy to watch. They have a lot of good players, though. He's not the only one. He's just the marquee guy. And they play tough. They play hard. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, thank everybody for watching the YouTube cast. Tell your friends. It shocks me as I look on social media or walk around town of the people that tell me, I had no idea that the Bearcats were on YouTube. So get the word out.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe.
What he said.
All right. And as always, go Bearcats.